Welcome to Mainland Television Regional News. I'm Graham O'Brien, and coming up in today's bulletin, one person killed in fatal crash in Tasman, safety on water emphasised, landlord wins national award, council's plan means move for band, new local sports team head home after Aussie success. Emergency services were in attendance at a fatal motor vehicle crash on State Highway 6 in the Upper Buller Gorge in the Tasman Buller district this morning. The two-vehicle crash was reported about 9 o'clock. One person had died at the scene. State Highway 6 between Inangahua and O'Sullivan's Bridge was closed to all traffic for several hours, while emergency services dealt with the scene. With Labour weekend fast approaching, Maritime New Zealand has raised the sails of Safer Boating Week to try and get boaties to take all precautions, starting with the most important safety message: life jackets save lives. On average, 15 boaties die each year, and 2/3 of those could have been saved if they had worn a life jacket. Labour weekend is notorious for boating tragedies around New Zealand, so Maritime New Zealand is trying to put the bung in these tragic statistics by dressing statues around the country in life jackets, using a light-hearted approach to remind boaties of all their serious responsibilities to themselves, their passengers and their families to come back to land safely. The Seafarers Memorial in Nelson is our local statue doing its best to save lives. We talked with Nelson Harbour Master Dave Duncan about boaties' responsibilities when they are out on the water. With Labour weekend coming up, they've passed a new bylaw in Auckland, meaning that everyone in under a 6-metre boat, the skipper is responsible for them to wearing a life jacket. We're just down here asking the Harbour Master Dave about how does that affect Nelson. Dave.
Hi Graham, yeah, thanks. It doesn't really make a lot of difference to Nelson because Nelson's had the bylaw exactly the same for quite some time. The shame I think in Auckland is they missed the opportunity to make it compulsory like it is in the rest of the South Island, and the way it will be recommending to the Nelson City Council to go in the future review of our bylaws. And you know, Auckland, they've just had 2 tragic boating accidents where people lost lives, and had it been compulsory to be wearing those life jackets, I'm sure 2 of those 4 people would probably still be with us today. And I can say without doubt that 10 out of 16 people that drowned last year would still be with us today and the year before. So why they're not compulsory, I have no idea.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Are the boating accidents you were talking about, are they the one where the powerboat hit the rowing boat? Is this the one?
No, that's one that happened in Wellington. No, in Auckland they had 4 people go overturned by a wave in a boat, and there was only 2 life jackets on board, but nobody was wearing those 2 life jackets, and I believe the other one was similar, where a dinghy with people on board was lost, and you know, they didn't find the body of one till sometime afterwards, and how tragic that is for the families. You know, I just cannot imagine how sad that would be, how tragic that would be. It's a disaster for the economy. You know, it's there's just no logic in not making it compulsory, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. And also, how about, we have other laws that are being debated about, and how about like drink driving laws, driving licences for boats? Have you got any comments on these ones?
Well, yeah, I mean, alcohol and boating just don't mix, Graham, and you know, the problem with alcohol is people go out there, then they become, the senses become a little dulled, the cold starts to get to them. You know, you'll react to the cold faster if you've got alcohol in the system. People do over-imbibe on the boat. They think it's the last frontier which they can do this. But then tragically they've got to come back and they've got to get in their cars and they've got to drive their boats home, you know, and so they're breaking the law just by implication. And there are laws and there are ways for those people to be arrested and prosecuted, but you know, the smart one would be to be able to say it's just illegal, and have again a road limit like we do on the roads today, and again I think more people would survive as a result of you know, not being able to drink and go boating.
Exactly, for sure. With the Labour weekend coming up, some last words on what people have to definitely remember when they get out there in their boats?
Well, like today, you know, there's a cool southwesterly or southeasterly in rather, and that's promising to go round to the southwest. That'll just get stronger and colder, and so you've got to watch the weather here in any part of the country, but in Nelson as well as anywhere else, we're very fortunate that we have the largest sunshine hours of the year, so people get lulled into a false sense of security. The weather's always going to be good. But, I've been caught out there in the bay and suddenly had to fight my way back into a big sea. So, if you're inexperienced, go and do a course. There are so many Coast Guard boating education courses about the place. Go and see, like I've got a simple RFD life jacket on, just pull the button, it inflates, or they're even automatic, some of them, if you want to go in. Make sure your kids are wearing life jackets and make sure they're wearing one that fits, because I do know of stories where children in Auckland have fallen out on the water, they had dad's life jacket on and they've drowned because they couldn't get the life jacket off. And, that's just, again, tragic. So I don't want to be the harbinger of doom and gloom, because boating and fishing and sailing, they're just fantastic sports, But let's do them safely and let's make sure we come home to the families in the condition we left.
A Nelson landlord has won a national award with a presentation for the 2014 Landlord of the Year Award on the weekend. This was the highlight of the New Zealand Property Investors Federation annual conference on Saturday in Christchurch, with this year's winner of the award won by Nelson landlady Lynn Marshall. Troy Churton, who was the National Industries Liaison for Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, said the judging panel found that Lynn Marshall had an outstanding care and community orientation to her business. She had excellent references from some of her tenants, who all valued her attention to their needs and the condition of the properties. The winner is a member of the Nelson Property Investors Association. There are 20 associations around New Zealand and all have monthly meetings which feature speakers on a variety of relevant topics, including quality landlord practices and effective property investment strategies. The event was jointly sponsored by the NZPIF and Ministry of Business and Innovation and Employment. The Highland Boat Band is on the move to the former hunting and fishing building in Whakatū Square. The group will be leasing this building from council temporarily, provided that a detailed seismic assessment of the building does not show up any critical structural weaknesses. The building has previously been identified as earthquake prone following an initial assessment, but no critical structural weaknesses have been identified so far. It is currently in use for storage. Provided the findings of the detailed seismic assessment are acceptable, the Highland Pipe Band will begin with a 6-monthly lease, renewable monthly following that, while they'll continue to find a suitable long-term venue. The former band rooms on Parapara Road, which are also earthquake prone and do have an identified structural weakness, will be demolished subject to approval at a future council meeting. Works and Infrastructure Committee Chair Eric Davey has said that the band has known since work began on the Rutherford and Trafalgar Parks development plan that a new band rooms will need to be found. It has been a challenge for them to find a site that meets their needs, but they do have an interim solution. It provides some surety for the band and will allow council to open out the area next to the new Maitai walkway, one of the first steps on the long-term development of the area. 4 members of Nelson's first obstacle racing club, Wairua Mud Rookies, have once again returned triumphant from Australia, following the successful completion of not 1 but 2 Spartan obstacle races in Sydney on Saturday 11th of October. The Mud Rookies team of Carly Larking, Lisa Higgins, Daryl Johnson and Stephen Fitzgerald all completed the Spartan Super, a grueling 14-kilometre course consisting of 25 obstacles designed to test body strength and endurance on the race day morning. This was followed by the Spartan Sprint, a 7-kilometre course consisting of 20 obstacles in the early afternoon. The team finished in 15th place out of 94 teams, with all 4 members earning themselves an additional coveted trifecta medal for completing the Spartan Beast, 21 kilometres, Spartan Super and Spartan Sprint within 1 calendar year. Daryl Johnson said that although the Nelson team completed a longer course last month in Brisbane, the rising temperatures in Sydney, hilly terrain and plenty of mud made these 2 shorter races just as taxing in terms of endurance. Team member Miss Larking said the challenge was tough and competitive, but there was still a spirit of camaraderie that is so often the case within the sport. Wairua Mud Rookies Club President Mr. Greg Whittaker has confirmed that this fledgling sport will soon become more prominent in Nelson. The club has teamed up with Sport Tasman to launch the region's very own obstacle race, Wairua Warrior. The new event on Nelson's sporting calendar, which organisers hope will attract visitors from all over New Zealand and Australia, will take place at Happy Valley near Haira on April the 11th, 2015. Happy Valley is considered an ideal venue with its undulating terrain and river, and competitors will face a range of natural and man-made obstacles involving mud, water and walls to challenge the body and mind. The Wairua Mud Rookies Obstacle Racing Club is based out of the Wairua Body Coaching Systems at the Whakatu Industrial Estate. It is the only facility in the Upper South Island that caters for obstacle course racing. The club is holding an open day on the 1st of November and encourages all those with an interest in participating in the sport to come along and meet the team. 100 years have passed since Edna and Maggie McCullum first fed the eels of the Anatoki River. Nelson local Lynette Salisbury caught up with Ian Purvis of Wild Earth, the new owner with the new name for what was previously known as Bencarry Farm Park near Takaka in Golden Bay.
Today I'm talking with Ian Purvis from the Wild Earth Nature Park in Takaka. Ian, tell us a bit about the history of the area.
Well, we're situated next to the beautiful Anatoki River here, and there's quite a special little population of creatures living here, the Anatoki eels. And they've been a tame population that has been fed here for over 100 years now. Well, actually, this is the 100-year anniversary this year. There was a woman named Edna McCullum who started feeding the eels way back in 1914. She was coming home one day after milking with some curds from the dairy shed, and she flicked some into the river and noticed that the eels came up and accepted it. And she tamed these eels over the course of her life. They were apparently her best friends. She was quite reclusive, but she tamed these eels and loved them, and word got out, and people started coming from all over New Zealand to visit. And at certain times there were hundreds of people coming a day just to visit these eels, and they'd put a shilling in the box, and yeah.
So tell us how long you've been involved with the nature park.
Well, we purchased this place. It was called Bencarry Nature Park at the time, on the 28th of January this year. And so we ran it for 3 months as Bencarry. We didn't really try and change anything. We just kept it as it was and observed, and then, saw what people loved and saw what wasn't working. Yes. And then we closed for 5 months, and we've done our best to reinvent the place, rebranded as Wild Earth Nature Park, completely redesigned the cafe, the menu, got a strong focus on organic and local food. A lot of our friends are local growers, and we would love to support them. And we've got a whole tribe of friendly animals here. We've got a whole lot of rare breeds, yaks and llamas and donkeys.
Yes, good. And obviously people can come here and just have a wander around and feed the animals. Was that something you came along with that idea for?
No, it's been a nature park for the last 20 years. It was set up by Matthew and Ruth Benge, who, when Edna McCullum got too frail to feed the eels anymore, they had the idea of starting a nature park here. He was a passionate animal breeder, passionate about yaks and llamas especially, and he conceived this as a way to support Edna and make sure the eels continued to be looked after and protected.
So what do you see for the future of Wild Earth Nature Park?
It's a big question. I'm part of a collective, the Earth Arts Collective, and we're a really passionate group of musicians and earth builders and artists. We've been involved in a lot of different festivals over the years, particularly Luminate Festival on Takaka Hill. And I'd really envision this place as being a thriving cultural hub and an education venue. We'd like to host a lot of workshops and all sorts of things. We've got friends who are very talented circus performers, builders, teachers of all sorts of things. Yeah, nature awareness and bushcraft. So that's the direction I see Wild Earth going in.
So that's really what you'd be wanting the new generation of up-and-coming kids to start to understand about a place like this?
Absolutely, just the chance to touch the earth and to be in a quiet, peaceful place, and also to educate about farm life and the realities of where food comes from. We'd really like to demonstrate milking goats, running workshops for making cheese and things like that. And we're passionate food growers, so we're going to start producing more and more of our own food here.
Well, thanks for your time, Ian. We really look forward to seeing what happens here in the future.
No, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
The AA Traveller team's new list of 101 must-dos this Kiwi summer covers the length and breadth of New Zealand with a host of places to explore. That will be new for many, along with a range of specific activities and events. The AA General Manager Club Operations, Peter Moxon, has said that original 101 must-do list for Kiwis was launched in 2006 and was hugely successful, with people throughout New Zealand voting on their favourite experiences. The list was recreated with a second run and public vote 2 years ago, which saw Hanmer Springs take the top spot. The 101 must-dos this Kiwi summer list includes our Abel Tasman National Park, where people can tramp, kayak or just put their feet up in unspoilt native forest, just an hour from Nelson, here in the top of the South Island. As part of the 101 must-dos this Kiwi summer launch, AA Traveller is providing people with the chance to tick off some of the new lists with a 3-week competition launched this week. Every day, 2 of the must-dos will go head-to-head to give Kiwis a chance to vote for their favourite. Those who vote for what becomes the most popular activity, attraction or place each day will go into the draw to win. To vote for our national park, go to www.101mustdos.co.nz/competition for a chance to win. We leave you with a reminder of how stunning the Abel Tasman really is.